but when you're out drinking and you got to drive, you try to be responsible, right? You do. You have good intentions. You tell yourself, it's okay. I'm driving tonight. I'm gonna have 2 drinks. That's it. That's what you say. But when you get with your friends, that goes right out the window, right? Because your friends, they want you to act the ass too, right? You want everybody drunk, right? You don't want somebody sober recalling the events the next day. You don't want to hear that. Girl, you peed on yourself. What? I did not. Make me sick. I hate hanging out with your sober ass. You want everybody drunk. That's why no matter what you do, if you go, no, 2 drinks, man, I'm done. You always get the one friend to go, no, come on, man. Have another drink. You be all right. I'll follow you home. And we all fall for that for some reason, right? I never understood the logic behind that exactly. It's like, okay, I'm going to get my drunk ass in my car, and you going to get your drunk ass in your car, and we going to have this drunk caravan just flying down the highway. How does having a drunk behind you improve your driving? Only thing that's good for, like, so when you crash, your drunk friend will be there to tell the cops what happened. That's all. You're like, ooh, officer, I saw the whole thing. It was tragic. Okay, this what happened, right? Can you get the light out my office? Well, okay. This what happened. Now, you see how the road go like this? Well, she went like that. I was following her until she hit that tree. And then I said, well, maybe she live in the woods. Maybe she got a tree house. Oh, okay.
Hey, you're listening to PPRNradio.net with another long stretch of continuous music.
All right, we're in for another good show here on PPRN Radio. The Designated Driver. I am your host, Marty the Paisan, and tonight on The Designated Driver, we've got an incredible story from the world of organized crime. A story about a man who rose quickly through the ranks. This man brought his family hundreds of millions of dollars, while most wise guys quit the mob in either the witness protection plan or in a wooden box. Our guest, Michael Franzese, didn't leave the mob in a wooden box or in the witness protection plan. Michael, welcome to The Designated Driver on PPRNradio.net.
Well, thank you for having me.
We really appreciate your time. I am your host, Marty the Paisan, and we have a room full of co-hosts. Lynn, say hello.
Hello.
We got Alicia.
Hey, Michael.
We got Mark.
Hey, Michael. How you doing, buddy?
And, of course, we got the owner of PPRN Radio, Peter. Say hello to Michael.
Hello.
Wow, you got a full panel. I feel like I'm in the stand in a grand jury thing here.
Hey.
Nice to meet you all.
We really appreciate you calling in. You have an incredible story, and it's very inspiring to others. So tell our listeners how you are able to walk on the same streets you walked when you were a captain of the Colombo crime family.
Well, it's been a long story. As you know, Marty, I left that life just about 20 years ago, and it's been wasn't a difficult thing to do. It's forbidden. You're not allowed to leave that life, even though I didn't, testify against anybody or go into the program, didn't cooperate in any way. But you just can't walk away from that oath. And it's a combination of things for me, especially at the level I reached. I mean, I was a couple regime, and at one point in time, they were grooming me to be the boss or the underboss because I had reached that level. But it's a combination of things. Number one, I lived in that life for over 20 years at a very high level. So I knew the mentality of the guys. I knew what they wouldn't do. I knew what they would do. So I changed my whole lifestyle. I mean, I moved out of New York. I can't exist in New York on a permanent basis. I moved out to the West Coast, changed my habits, meaning I haven't been in a club in, 25 years. Why? Bad place for me. I know who hangs out in those places. Makes a phone call back to New York. They want to be a hero. I walk into the parking lot. Boom, I'm gone. So I avoid that. I don't go to the same restaurant, every Tuesday night, let's say, and sit in the same chair. I don't walk my dog every morning at 7 o'clock. So if somebody was looking for me, they would, see it affect me that way. So, there was a lot of changes. Fortunately, I was pretty disciplined about it because of the experience that I had. And, I also believe I'm a strong person of faith now, and I believe that, God had a different purpose in my life. He's made that clear for me over the last 20 years. And then, quite honestly, I just outlasted everybody. I mean, everybody I know is either dead or in prison for the rest of their lives. Their life was devastated back in the mid-'80s when Giuliani started to use those racketeering laws very effectively. And a lot of guys went to jail. A lot of guys have died off. And, the fact that I didn't hurt anybody certainly went in my favor. And so it's a combination of those things. And, like I tell people, this wasn't, some grand plan where I had it all figured out and I knew it was going to work out, because I never sold my former associates short. Those guys were very capable and, just very determined at times. I think I was very blessed, very lucky, and that's the best I can say. Here I am.
Here you are. Now, when you became a made man in La Cosa Nostra, you had to take an oath. What was this oath all about? Can you tell me? Go into it a little bit?
I mean, I was proposed into that life by my dad. And when I say proposed, you can't just go up to somebody that's a made guy and say, hey, I'd like to join. Somebody has to propose you. They have to vouch for you. They have to say you have what it takes. And in my case, it was my dad. And once he proposed me, I met with the then acting boss. We were part of the Colombo family, and Joe Colombo was the boss, but he got shot and eventually died from the wounds. And there was a new boss at the time who's now passed on. And, he ran it down for me. He says, from now on, 24/7, you answer to this family. We're number one in your life. You got to do anything we tell you to do. And to tell you how serious that is, if your mother is sick and dying and you're at her bedside and we call you to service, you leave your mother's side, you come and serve us. So this is number one in your life. You got to put it before anything. And for about the next year and a half after that speech, I was in kind of a recruit period where I had to do anything and everything I was told to do to prove myself worthy. And after about a year and a half, I proved myself worthy in their eyes, and it was Halloween night, 1975, when I walked into a room with 5 other gentlemen, and we walked in individually, and it was a very solemn ceremony. They wanted you to understand the seriousness of what you were getting involved in, and it was a blood oath. I mean, they do cut your finger with a knife, and nothing drastic, but a little blood drops on the floor. I cupped my hands. They took a picture of a saint, a Catholic altar card, put it on my hands, and lit it a flame. It didn't hurt. It was merely symbolic. It burned quickly. And they said, tonight, Michael Franzese, you're born again into a new life, into La Cosa Nostra, this thing of ours. Violate what you know about this life or betray your brothers, and you'll die and burn in hell like the saint is burning in your hands. And they said, do you accept? And I said, yes, I do. And that's how it started for me.
Now, a couple of times you mentioned your dad. Sonny was involved in La Cosa Nostra in the 1950s and 1960s. Now, he was just released from prison in June of this year. Racketeering, fraud, loan sharking are some of the things your dad is known for. What are some of the things that you remember about your dad as a young child?
Well, I love my dad. My dad was my idol, my hero. He was a great father, a great husband to my mother. He loved his kids. Tried to bring me up the right way. Didn't want this life for me originally. He wanted me to go to school and be a doctor. And he always told me, son, stay off the street, get an education. That's what it's about. And like I said, a great father. I really looked up to him. I think he taught me a lot of things growing up that certainly served me well in my childhood and then as an adult. But what happened with Dad is he was indicted and convicted on a federal case back in 1966, a case until this day I will say he was framed on. They charged him with masterminding a nationwide series of bank robberies, and it was 100% frame up. And people, I say this all the time, I went to jail for a crime that I was guilty of, and I pled guilty, did my time. My dad certainly did other things in his life, but he didn't do the crime that he was convicted of, and eventually sentenced to 50 years in prison. So my dad was released. He spent 38 years in prison since 1970. He's been in and out a few times on parole and then was violated. But he did 38 years. He was the oldest living inmate, the oldest inmate, I should say, in the federal system until his release on June 23rd. He's now 100 years old.
Wow.
He was a very active figure in that life. Yeah, he lived to be 100 and is still there kicking. And it's good to have him home, and he was the guy that I'd learned from, and as far as I'm concerned, he was the best of the bunch.
Now, didn't at some point you believe that he put a contract out on you?
Well, listen, what happened was when I walked away from that life, it was normal. Everybody believed that I was going to become a witness and that I was going to start testifying. And obviously I could have hurt a lot of people. I was a pretty active guy, but the FBI was putting a lot of pressure on me, and they did me real dirty in that they put my name on the witness list of a lot of trials of my friends that were going on in New York. So people were getting discovery, and my name was on it. So people had a hard time believing that I wasn't going to testify, because when you walk away, it's normal. Normally people walk away to save themselves, and they start to help the government. But that's not what I was about, and that's not what I was interested in. The boss of my family at the time, who's now doing life, he put an immediate contract on me. He was very upset when I walked away. He took it very personal. And my dad went along with it. And I was told that, and I believed it, because I know my dad. This life meant everything to him. It didn't mean he didn't love me. But, I violated the oath as far as he was concerned, and it's something that we're not allowed to do. Now, so I had a rough time. I don't want to make light of it. I had a rough time for a number of years. When I was in prison, they locked me down for a while because, they're not going to take responsibility if I would have got killed or hurt in the yard. So they kept me in lockdown, which was not fun. But after a while, when people realized, because all these trials were coming up and I didn't show up, then they knew that what I was saying was true. So that took years. And after all of that faded, then my dad and I, we didn't speak for 10 years. And then he sent for me when he was out on parole, and I did go to visit him. And ever since, we've kind of patched it up, and we're pretty. I'm thrilled because I love my dad, and I know he loves me, and the relationship is important to me. So it ended up okay.
Mike, these shows that have come and gone, like The Sopranos and all that, do they depict the life to the T? Do they overemphasize it? I mean, is it almost like they're mocking what the life is? I mean, because these are Hollywood producers. I mean, unless they lived a life, how are they accurate? I mean, yes, Goodfellas was a movie that was written. Okay, so that was, let's say somewhat accurate. I don't know how accurate, but these shows like The Sopranos, if you ever watched, you watch The Sopranos?
Well, listen, I watched the first season of The Sopranos, and look, Tony Soprano, he did a good job, I would say, depicting that character. But this is how I summarize The Sopranos. If a mob boss was ever visiting a psychiatrist, he'd be in the trunk of his car by the end of the week, along with a psychiatrist. So that would never happen, never in a million years.
So do you think these shows almost kind of like dumb down the life a little bit, or no?
Well, look, people have what they think is the right view of that life. But I'll tell you this. was probably the most accurate depiction of that life. I mean, I knew all those guys. They actually have a character. I'm a character in Goodfellas. I knew Jimmy Burke and all those guys, so they threw me in. But it was a fairly accurate portrayal of that life, other than the fact that I'll tell you this, Henry Hill never looked as good as he looked in Goodfellas. He wasn't that important a guy, and they made him a lot more substantial in that movie than he really was. You know, he was kind of an associate, but you know, that's movies. Donnie Brasco was also fairly accurate, an accurate portrayal.
I just saw that movie again for the 15th time. You can that movie never gets old, you know.
Pacino did a great job. I thought it was one of his best portrayals. Lefty, he did a good job. And of course, The Godfather was, you know, the most amazing movie, except that it was fictional. Yeah. But you know, those are the three that I would talk about. Now, I'll tell you what I think is the best movie that was ever done in that life. But if you haven't, go and watch it. It's on HBO Go, and it's the Gotti movie. It's called Gotti. Armand Assante played Gotti.
He's good, ain't he?
Brilliant. He's brilliant.
Isn't he like he's like a C actor, but he can do a mob boss. Like I like to me, I don't know. I think he's really good. But go ahead.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's a B actor. I think he's terrific. And any role that he does, but he played Gotti to a T. And the whole HBO movie was just terrific. It was one of my favorites. So if you didn't see it, watch it. I recommend it. That's a good recommendation.
I have an app called Mobster, and it's called it's free channels. There's actually a channel dedicated to mafia movies. I watch it all day. I swear to God, I watch that shit. Oh, I love that shit.
Hey, Michael, I have a question.
Well, listen. Sure.
I have a question. Are you still concerned that people are coming after you still? I mean, you said how you don't go to the same restaurant, so this is something you have to think through. Is that still a concern of yours?
Let me put it this way, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way. I never lived in fear once I walked away because, you know, when you're part of that life, you see a lot of things. And, you know, I was put into a situation one night where I didn't know if I was going to survive. And what I mean by that, you know, one of the horrors of that life is that you might make a mistake. Who knows what you might have done. Your best friend walks you into a room, you don't walk out again. And unfortunately, I've seen that and I've witnessed that, and that's the life that I was once a part of. And I had that situation one night, and I really thought that it could have been the last walk into a room that I ever took, but I did it. And, you know, so I realized that, you know, I was able to face death at that point. But so when I left the life, I didn't live in fear. Now, I wasn't stupid about it. In other words, I didn't sell anybody short. I'm not challenging anybody because, like I said, I don't sell them short. But I didn't live in fear. I just did what I needed to do, what I felt I needed to do to protect myself. And so I still don't live in fear. And like I said, there's nothing macho about that. It's just the way it is. But, like, I won't go back to Brooklyn and say, hey, guys, I'm moving back into the neighborhood. I mean, I wouldn't last 24 hours, possibly. Maybe, who knows? But, you know, I have faith in God, but God doesn't tell you to be stupid. You know, you got to use your head. So is anybody actively coming after me? No. But what I worry about is the same thing that anybody else can worry about. I'm a public figure. I got a background. People like to make names on other people's backgrounds, you know. I speak a lot. I mean, I'm a very prolific speaker, and I speak in front of thousands of people on a monthly basis.
Right.
And then I do a book signing afterwards or whatever. And, you know, who knows who can come up to you at a book table when there's really no great security, and all of a sudden you got a problem. So things like that I try to be conscious of and do my best to, you know, to stay out of a bad situation. But I think if, God forbid, anything happened to me, it would probably happen that way.
Right.
But
I mean, they could find you if they wanted
case.
to. You are, you know, pretty public.
So we're going to talk about your book in just a minute here, but I got a question for you. Now, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, La Cosa Nostra was powerful. Why do you think it's not as powerful as it was back well, even in the 80s? I mean, you don't hear about the stuff that you heard 20 years ago.
Well, the answer is very simple. I don't know if you realize how devastating law enforcement has been on my former life. Starting in the mid '80s with Giuliani, you got to give him the credit or the blame, depending on what side you're on. He started using those racketeering laws extremely effectively. I mean, I had two federal RICO indictments, one brought on by Giuliani. Fortunately, I was acquitted, or I wouldn't be here now, because they're giving out, 100 years, 150 years, stuff like that, which most of my former associates, that's the kind of time they were getting. So they used the racketeering laws very effectively, and I won't get into detail, but I know the law intimately well. It's an extremely hard law to defend yourself against. Very, very, very. Not only is it expensive with lawyers and time, but it's very difficult. It's all the government's way. Then you have the Sentencing Reform Act, where now they give you a bundle of time, where before they didn't get time. And then you got the Bail Reform Act, where now everybody's either a threat to society or you're a flight risk, and then they hold you with no bail. It's very hard to fight a case when you're inside rather than on the outside where you have the resources and the tools. So, my former life didn't keep up with that. There's more informants on the street now than you ever saw in your lifetime. Because remember, everybody's saying it's the young guys today, they can't stand up like the old guys. Well, let me tell you the difference. Back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, you went to jail, you got 10 years, you got 15 years, you get out on parole in half. Anybody can do that time. We could have done that time standing on our head. Today, you get indicted and convicted on a racketeering case, you got 50 years, you got no parole, you got to do 85% of your time. So the FBI comes to some guys, what do you want to do? You want to help us a little bit, or you want to stay here for the rest of your life? You help us, we'll put you in a program, we'll set you up, we'll get you out of here. And guys don't stand up anymore when they're going to do the rest of their life in jail. That's what happened. There's a lot of old-timers that became informants after that. I mean, Joey Messina, who was the boss of the family in Brooklyn, he got 3 life sentences and started to cooperate. And he was a boss.
Oh, my God.
The same thing happened in Philadelphia, places like that, because guys don't stand up. Messina. And he was a good friend of mine. And so, these things, it's just tough. The government has too many tools. They have too many weapons. It's all this way. And I saw that. That was one of the main reasons why I said, you know what? I'm the youngest guy at everybody. If I get convicted, they're going to give me 300 years. I'm done. And I saw the things starting to turn and the trends starting to go the wrong way for us. And so that's why it's not as strong as it used to be. They put all the guys away. The new guys coming up have a little different outlook on that life. I will tell you this, guys, I won't count them out. I don't think it'll go away in my lifetime. But if the government continues this assault that they've had, it's not going to last. I can tell you that.
It's not. You don't see it like you used to. But
no.
to move on, so what's happening next? With you got a book out there, and where can people possibly hear you speak?
It's more than that. Let me tell you what I'm very fortunate. Like I said, I've been speaking now for just about 20 years, ever since I was released from prison. I do, 70 to 80 dates a year, really prolific, and I love doing that because I think the message that I send out is the right one. People seem to respond to it. The phone keeps ringing, and I'm on my 5th right now. We have other products that hopefully all the products that I put out are for the benefit of people. And,
wow, 5
and that
books.
Always works well. Coming out, I was in a film. I did a small role. I'm on screen probably 10 or 15 minutes, I think. It's a Christian film called Let There Be Light with Kevin Sorbo. That's coming out in November, I think, in 2,000 screens. So I've been getting a lot of play on that. I got 2 more TV shows that right now looks like they're going to go. One's a reality show, and the other's a scripted series that it looks like it's going to go. There's a lot of interest now in the Mob brand, and I'm pretty much the guy out there that people turn to after all these years that I've been doing this. And then my most exciting project is I'm actually involved in and producing a show in Vegas. It's going to be in Bally's, the biggest stage in all of Vegas, and it's basically the history of the mob in Las Vegas set to music and dance. And it's a show I'm really excited about. We're going to premiere it in November, and we're working hard on it right now. So those are all the things I have got going on.
So if people want to find out about it, you're on Facebook and you got a website. What's that?
I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and my website is michaelfranzese.com. It's myname.com.
Go ahead and spell your last name.
Last name is F-R-A-N like Nancy, Z like zebra, E-S-E.
All right. And then what are you on Twitter? How can people find you on Twitter?
I think just I'm not good with all this technology. I think it's just at Michael Franzese. I don't know. Facebook, the same thing. You just plug my name in there. And I'll
Google the shit out of it. You'll see it.
Huh?
Okay, they'll know how to figure it out. Marty's an old-time guy. He's a 50-year-old guy in an 80-year-old guy's body.
I still got a flip phone.
He's still got a rotary phone at his house.
Oh, Marty, come on. You got to get with that.
Yeah,
hey, listen, Mike, before we let you go, I got to ask you a question.
Sure.
If you have a gizzard and I got a gizzard, what do you got?
You got me, Marty.
You got a gizzard
like
each.
Old-time joke, but
A gizzard each.
I got you. All right. Gizzard each.
All right, so you want to let the listeners know?
What the fuck was that?
I don't know.
That's my signature joke.
Michael, we're sorry.
Yeah, please don't go back to your life for that joke, please.
Yeah.
Please, we like to live.
Gizzard each.
That's a good joke. Come on.
Over here.
Gizzard
That's a
each.
good one.
Just
That's a
because
good
you're
one, Marty.
Portuguese.
I like
Don't
your accent,
feed into
Marty.
it, Michael.
You're bringing back good memories.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's
So-
big pussy in Sopranos. That's what go ahead.
So, any final thoughts for the designated driver listeners?
No, listen, just always good being able to come on and share some information. You know, I tell you the truth, Marty, I never realized in my life how intrigued people are with my former life while I was in that life. You know, that's your life. You're just doing your thing. But in the last 20 years, it's amazing how intrigued people are with my former life. I mean, you know, I've spoken in Singapore and Bulgaria, and I just went on tour in England. We did 14 dates in England back in February and March.
Are you
Australia,
kidding?
Israel.
If you're sitting, if you ever decide to sit at a park bench every day in your golden years, you let me know, because I want to sit next to you, man. I'm so fucking intrigued by that shit.
And
I could listen to stories for years.
He's a minister now.
Michael.
Just to refresh your memory.
So I can't swear. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I wanna
And
make
Michael.
this clear, I'm not a minister. I don't have any formal, license or anything else. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a minister. I'm just a guy out there sharing his story. But I got a million stories. So,
Are you?
Good Lord. Let me know. I
Are
don't
you-
want to tell you where you live. But
Are you coming to Connecticut anytime soon? Do
I
you
can't
know?
come to the East Coast, Marty.
well, I'll be in New York next week.
Oh, wow.
My dad again. Yeah, I
No,
come
you
back
shouldn't
quite
say
a
that.
bit, actually, but I'm on the West Coast. You know, I live out in California, but I come back east quite a bit.
Michael, I want to say I think that besides the fascination with the mob, which we all share, you know, I think people are tuned into you because if you can change, right? If a guy who is in your position
And here comes the
can
doctor.
change, well, listen, if that's intriguing on a social level, like you change your life, that's got to be inspiring to people that say anyone can get out of any situation because you were in a situation nobody gets out of, and you change your entire life. So, you know, I think that's a part of it. It's not just strictly, look, I love Goodfellas too, but it's not just that, right? So,
Marty looks a few fellas too.
No, I agree with you. You know, it is motivating when somebody was able to turn their life around. It's inspirational for people. And I got to tell you this, guys and ladies, you don't do that alone. I mean, I was very fortunate. I'm married now 32 years to a woman who played an intricate part in this whole transformation for me because she held me accountable. She was a strong person of faith. You know, I loved her and respected her, and I didn't want to do anything to put myself back in trouble or jeopardize my family in any way. And you don't do this alone. You got to have the right people around you. I always tell, you know, it's a message I give out to our young people because I work with a lot of these gangbangers. I go into juvenile halls. I'm always in prisons, speaking to inmates. And I tell them straight out, you know, in this life, we are who we hang out with. We hang with the wrong crowd. You know, you're going to be influenced in the wrong way. And, you know, I also tell people, listen, when I came to faith, I didn't get a lobotomy. I don't forget the stuff that I did on the street. And sometimes, you know, you get in a situation, it's tempting to go back. If you don't surround yourself and you don't keep yourself straight, you know, on a daily basis, it's easy to fall back. And that's been a real blessing for me to have the right people around me, keep me accountable and keep me in the right direction. And then when you get older, you know, you get a little bit smarter at least, and you don't want to do the old stuff.
Well,
so it's a combination of things that make it
can
work.
you teach me how to get my life back after that joke that Marty said? A giz it each?
Listen, that's a good joke. Just because you're Portuguese and you don't get it.
Not Italian, you don't understand.
Same continent, huh? A giz it each.
So,
Give it each.
Michael, thank you so much for being our guest tonight. You've shared a lot of time here tonight, and we really appreciate it. So, thank you so much,
Mark.
and all the best to you and to your father. And you know, being 100 years old, that's amazing.
And Mike, if you ever want to share some more of your stories, man, we have other shows on this network too. So,
Well, you just let me know. You know, you got my contact information. You know, I do a lot of stuff, and anytime I can jump on, we got the time. We could schedule it, no problem.
yeah, I'm gonna do that within the next couple of weeks. I'm closing on a house this week, hopefully, and I'm not doing promotions this week,
Let's
hopefully.
not get into that.
And but yeah, I'm gonna try to get you on. I do a 3 hour shows during the week, which is like a Howard Stern format. So I just want to let you know ahead of time. But yeah, definitely, we would love to have you on that. So I'll get the information from Marty, and we'll get you back on the station. Thank you so much.
No problem. You got it.
All right, Mike.
All right. Now
Thanks a lot.
I'm going to go watch. Listen to me. I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm going to go watch Aaron Judge and Mike Stanton battle it out for the home run derby.
There you
I'm a
go.
big baseball fan.
There you go.
You
Baseball's
Yankee
off
fan.
till Friday, so yeah, go enjoy that.
Yeah. So enjoy that, and then we'll be in touch.
All right, giz it each. Have a
Take it easy.
All right, Mike. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
for
Michael.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you. Bye-bye.
All right, great guest there for Designated Driver and PPR and Radio. If you found us on Facebook and like the Designated Driver logo and flyer, check out A1 Gator Graphics and Vinyls, custom graphics, cornhole games, vinyl decals, and so much more. A1 Gator Graphics, 561-512-1324. Couple great bands that we're going to play right now for you is Secret Rule and The Craft.
Hey, have you tried that new place, Beats?
Beats?
No, it's a pizza.
Beats?
It's a pizza. They let you build your own.
They even cook it in a coal-fired brick oven.
In under 3 minutes.
Do they have anything else?
Of course. They have calzones, grinders, wings, soups, and salads.
They let you completely design your own meal.
With 30 different toppings to choose from. I'm sure you'll find something.
Check out their app in the iTunes or Android Marketplace.
Or just head down to a Beats yourself at 182 Temple Street. I promise you won't be disappointed.
Well, looks like we're heading to Beats.
It's a pizza!
tried to choke up on the bad that cried for me to stand up and chase my dreams, but it's hard enough to float gently downstream. But I try. Tried to stand up against those suit and ties. They told me, son, you'll never make it in this world if you spend all your time looking up at those birds. But so you best get busy, boy, before the day is done. My mama told me the girls be pretty, so you best be wary, boy, but have your fun. She said, have your fun.
Listening to PPRNradio.net with another long stretch of continuous music.
The first band that you heard there was Secret Rule. The song you heard was Foolish Daisy. After some gigs in Italy, Secret Rule was on tour in Switzerland, France, Germany, Belgium, Holland, and the UK. Secret Rule not only sounds good, but their lead singer, Angela Di Vincenzo, looks pretty good, too. For more info on Secret Rule, visit their website, www.secretrule.it, or follow them on Facebook. The second band that you just heard was The Craft, their song, Get Busy. The Craft is acoustic alternative through their music. They want to share the message of peace, understanding, happiness, and community. Follow The Craft on Facebook or visit thecraftband.com for music, videos, and tour dates. Rob'sTickets.com, 467-8499, area code 203. If you want to see your favorite sports team, tickets are available for every team, every concert, every World Series, whatever it is you want to go and see. Visit Rob'sTickets.com, and you can get a 10% discount when you type in Paisan, Paisan. So go and check out Rob's Tickets. They got some really good It's baseball season right now, right? So they got some good baseball seats there. True Ink Gallery is determined to bring you the highest quality art in any form that you choose. Clean, custom, and caring, True Ink Gallery is a full-service custom tattoo and piercing shop located at 2005 Foxen Road in North Branford, Connecticut. If you got a tattoo that you've been thinking about redoing, TrueInkGallery.com. Check out the artists, piercings, and even tattoo candles. True Ink has it all. On Facebook, True Ink Gallery USA. Give them a call, 203-208-3176. You get a 15% discount for military, firemen, and police with an ID. And you also get a 10% discount for all the designated driver listeners. Now, there's a little place out in Madison, Connecticut called the Center for Compassionate Recovery. Tell me about this place, Mark.
Wow, well, you know how Oscar Mayer makes the best wieners? Well, we do the best opiate addiction treatment. Seriously, we have doctors, physicians, and psychologists, yours truly, working side by side in tandem, covering both the medical and physical aspects of opiate addiction, which is critical, as well as the psychological and behavioral aspects, which is equally, if not more critical, down the road. And we have the capacity to treat people's mental health and substance abuse issues, in an integrated way. That's my specialty. I'm a addiction psychologist.
And how long you been in that field?
I've been in that field longer than I care to share. Probably going on 22, 23 years right now. I'm old.
And before you had your own practice out there in Madison, where else did you work at?
I've done everything from working inside a federal penitentiary addiction program to the world-famous Betty Ford Center. And
how was it working at Betty Ford?
Betty Ford was interesting. You might walk in one day like I did and see Don Johnson arguing with Melanie Griffith in the cafeteria. and you're
really?
Yeah, you see a couple screaming at each other and you're like, wait a minute, that's Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith. And she looks pretty damn good. So anything is possible. I was almost Michael Jackson's counselor, one day away.
Yes.
Wow. Didn't happen. I was still, as you could see, pretty unhappy about that.
So over there at the,
but we take. I forgot to add too, Marty, that what sets us apart in Madison is that we take all kinds of insurance, including state insurance, which unfortunately, because it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare, and so what? My goal, what? He woke up.
Your steak is pretty rare?
No, not steak. State. Stay with us, Peter. But we do take state health insurance, and my goal in opening that practice with my partners was to provide top quality care to people who have state insurance who otherwise don't have other top quality choices in general. So.
ctaddiction.com for more information on the Center for Compassionate Recovery. And then you can call 203-245-0412. Mark's a great guy, down-to-earth guy, and he treats all his clients over there with the utmost respect. So if you know somebody or if you're struggling with some kind of an addiction, give Mark a call over there, 203-245-0412. The East Haven Memorgwin Reunion Food Drive Concert Benefit is just 5 weeks away. Saturday, August 19th from 12 noon to 8 p.m. at the Irish American Club on Venice Place in East Haven.
Yeah.
3 bands, all-you-could-eat food, bocce, cash bar, and more. Wristbands are a suggested donation of $10, and you can get yours this Sunday, July 16th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the East Haven Green. Will be set up right across the street from the cemetery. This is your last chance to get a wristband. Wristbands are not available at the door. Fool's Faith is headlining this event, and everyone is encouraged to bring a canned good item. So it's for the East Haven Food Pantry. Is the goal here, to raise as much food as we can. The last time we did this, we raised 400 pounds of food for the East Haven Food Pantry. So for more info on the East Haven Memorgan Reunion Food Drive, check out the Facebook group Memorganites of East Haven, or you can email me, Marty the Paisan, Paisan @gmail.com. So, one of our co-hosts, Alicia Marie Tranquilli.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
You did get that right.
All right. Welcome to the Designated Driver. What's going on in Alicia's world?
Nothing. I'm a person in recovery. I'll be celebrating 2 years this month.
Yeah.
No one likes a quitter.
That's true. That's true.
So what was your drug of choice?
Heroin and crack. And I used for a little over 10 years. But what's important is I found recovery. And today I'm doing that.
Well, recovery found you.
No, I found my recovery. I found the recovery that worked for me.
And what is that?
Nicely said.
Yeah. Meaning and purpose in my life. I found meaning and purpose in my life. And it wasn't just about finding it, but then taking the actions to fulfill that. And that's what I do today.
Wow.
And what was the light bulb that went off?
You know what? Everybody gave up on me, and I had nobody. I was pretty much homeless, and it was either I could get clean or I could keep using.
I know somebody who's in that situation right now.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
It's me.
Yeah.
It's me.
You know, it's funny because when I had no pressure from anybody, my parents or anything, like nobody cared anymore, the decision finally came down to me and what I wanted. And I wanted to get clean, and so I did. I went to First Step Detox in Bridgeport, which was awesome, actually. And from there, I kept going. And I knew as long as I didn't use, that it would all work out. As long as I kept doing the next, right thing, and I followed what my purpose was and meaning in my life was, it would be okay. And it is.
And what do you do to maintain today? How are you maintaining today?
I do everything that my addiction held me back from doing. I went back to school to finish my bachelor degree.
Nice.
Yep. I work in the field now, which is something I've always said I wanted to do, and now I'm able to do it.
And you want to say where you work?
Well, I work at Stonington now. I just started at Stonington, but I also worked at the McAuliffe Center, actually, in Bridgeport, which is a co-occurring men's facility. And I also went through CCAR's Recovery Coach Academy.
Nice. Do you know I used to be the director at Stonington, right?
Were you?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm there now. So, at their new...
I was in the child and adolescent program.
Oh,
I
okay.
ran that program that got shut down after I left.
Yeah.
After I left, because I knew it was going to get shut down.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're trying to...
But my buddy Bill runs the adult program. He's a great guy.
Yes.
Bill
Savinelli.
Yeah,
yes.
he's the man. I
yes.
love Bill.
He's on the board of CCAR. And they actually brought me in to train staff on how to be recovery coaches.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing going on right now, that peer, support. When I went to CCAR's Recovery Coach Academy, it was an amazing experience. It was Phil Valentine and Arthur were just amazing. And it really backed up what I already knew that I wanted to do.
So you work full-time at Stonington?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to offline talk to you about maybe having you come talk to some of my groups, because what you're saying is exactly what I preach to my groups about how you stay sober. You don't stay sober unless you find meaning and purpose.
Yep.
And you have something to hold on to.
Yes.
That's because stopping using is a sacrifice.
Yes.
And you have to have a reason to make that sacrifice.
Yep.
And that's what my end of it. The doctors prescribe the medication, but physicians, but my end of it is helping people move in that direction.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's again, abstinence and recovery are two different things.
That's right.
It's one thing to stop drugs, but then to be in recovery, that's something completely different.
That's
right.
That's what I'm finding it difficult. Finding it
Well,
very difficult.
But you're in a place where she was a long time ago.
Yes.
Right.
It takes time.
Yeah.
There's no substitute for that.
Yep.
And if you go on your Facebook page, now I see this thing on there from time to time.
My mosaics.
Your mosaic. Is this something that helps you to stay sober?
You know what? It does. It's like a therapy, putting the broken pieces back together, right? To create something beautiful. And I found it in my recovery. I found a bunch of glass, and I literally Googled what you could do with it. And I saw the whole mosaic thing, and I just started. I started doing it, and today I take risks like that, but positive risks. If I'm interested in learning something, I go out and I try it. And
was that after you hit the tree?
Yeah, that was 2006. Yeah, that was not good. Yeah. But the mosaic.
What can I do with all this glass?
The mosaics, though. I mean, it's therapy. It's something I could constantly go back to when I need to take a break from everything, and it's something for me. It's nobody else's. It's mine. Nice. And
do you listen to music when you're doing it, or are you just silent?
No, usually it's pretty silent. Sometimes I'll put music. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I just sit there and I just do it.
Everything I do, I gotta have music.
Yeah.
And speaking of music, Peter.
That's your cue, Peter.
That's my cue.
What happens here on PPRN Radio?
So to really do it really quick, go to the website pprnradio.net, check out the schedule, and we do play music, and we do have a bunch of shows on here. We have 5 shows actually, yours being one of them. We also have my show, the Peter Pino Show, which is a comic show, and then Monday nights we do sports show, and then on Saturdays we do a nice mixtape show. So check it out. But we have music all throughout the week too. We're an actual 24/7 radio station.
Now you're saying 5 shows, including this one. Now our contract is up on the 31st, and I've been contemplating, and lately I've been getting a lot of emails about people that are listening to the show, and it's inspiring to them, and I'm going to be pretty blunt here when I say this. The show is not going in the direction that I want it to go in. I've done internet radio before. I've done public access. So I'm still on the fence. Do I want to sign another contract with you? So on the 31st is our actual last show of the Designated Driver. So I don't know. We got to think about this.
Marty, you got to remember, man, you're just getting some great guests going on now, and you pick up some.
Yeah, sometimes the thing is with radio, I'm going on 7 years, and I haven't signed anything yet, but it's hard for people. And then Marty has a full-time job. It's hard for people.
I do.
Like a lot of people don't understand how I can do 40-hour work week and then do this. It's because along the way I picked up I've been through a lot of people, and along the way I picked up people that have actually understand entertainment. Like, I'm not saying you don't, but a lot of people, when they first start out radio, they're like, oh my God, it's going to be the biggest thing. Radio today, it doesn't. I mean, we get over 70,000 minutes listened to a week, but that is kind of good for radio, but it's still not a lot. It's not enough to bring in sponsors. I mean, the reason why it gets listened to a lot is because there is no commercials every 10 fucking minutes. You know what I mean? So, but without the commercials, there's no way to keep it alive. Financially, I had the fortune of coming across some money and able to rebuild the studio, and I get what he's saying. But in order to get a show, you have to be 24/7 doing it, and we both work jobs. Like this network is doing pretty well as far as content and everything, and we get people listening every day.
This is
making money.
This is a lot of fun coming in
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
I love
hanging
it.
out, doing this.
I'm not going. I'm going to still be here no matter what.
No, I mean, Marty.
I'm not going anywhere.
If Marty wants to move going, maybe I'll decide to do something on my own. But I don't want to take from what Marty did. You know what I mean? So, it's Marty's show. If he wants to send it somewhere else, or if he wants to end it, or whatever, that's what he. It's on him.
What I was trying to do with this was I was trying to get it to FM or AM. because, like I said, I've done internet radio, and the whole Sunday Sauce Pot, that's where it started. It started on Blog Talk Radio, and we did 60 shows or whatever in a year and a half time, and we have over 100,000 downloads on that. It was a nothing show.
Right.
So there's a lot of meat to this show. A lot of people like this show.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
I like it.
Again, though, that takes time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was trying to say.
If this is what you want and you have that passion in it, you'll get there if you
But
believe
like
in
you
it
said,
enough.
now
It's
when
hard,
I was in a transition, and we only got a couple minutes left, but now I'm working 6 days a week.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and this takes time. Like I prepared for the show right before I came here.
Yeah.
You know what I
we
mean?
did.
I didn't have no
Yeah.
time to prepare for tonight's
Yeah.
show, and we had a great guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to throw everything together right before we started the show.
Hey, Marty, ask for help.
Into the mic.
I'd love to help you, Marty. And don't hesitate to ask if you want. If take a little burden off yourself. Let me help you.
Yeah, what you need is a producer.
Let me help you find guests, or
Yeah.
maybe we could find a producer, someone that just wants to get involved.
You think I do all that?
People in recovery, man, they want to contribute any way possible. You could get someone who's never been a producer, but they'll try and learn.
Yeah, and to put it on hiatus and then try to come back, you'll never.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. You're never gonna
Forget about it.
If anybody wants to help out, you can email me, Marty the Paisan, PAISAN @gmail.com. So,
Happy birthday, Marty! For everybody that didn't know, it's Marty's 21st birthday yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Thank you, guys. So, on that thought, the positive thought for today is you cannot change what's going on around you until you start changing what's going on within you. TheDailyQuotes.com. Let's just kiss and say goodbye. I need you. You are my shining star. And so many more hits from the Manhattans is what you'll be hearing this Friday night, July 14th at 7:30 p.m. on the Hamden Green for free. The Manhattans are coming to Hamden for free. Be sure to catch Sunday Sauce Pot Public Access Television Show on ETV Channel 18 in East Haven and online, easthaven.tv, twice a day, every day, 10 a.m., 10 p.m. This week we feature Gearhead Mafia Car Show fundraiser for the troops, and in the second half of the broadcast, where you were, Peter, 6A's birthday bash. That was a fun time. So Jonathan 6A, it's his birthday bash, and you can catch that, like I said, 10 a.m., 10 p.m., easthaven.tv. Thank you to all our sponsors, our co-hosts, our special guest tonight, Peter and PPRN Radio, and all of you guys, the listeners, and all the new members of the Designated Driver Facebook group. Thank you, guys. If you like us, tell a friend about us.
Love you, Sullivan.
As always, who loves you, baby?
You're listening to PPRNradio.net.